Welcome back to Leaving Cert Plus. This is lesson 1.11, where we're looking at the quadratic formula or the minus b formula. There are a number of ways to solve a quadratic equation like what we have here. And what I mean by solve is basically just find the roots of that equation. So first of all, you're going to have to factorize and then put your factors equal to 0. We looked at this with our junior cert factorizing. There are a number of ways other than the junior cert factorizing that we can solve for these quadratics as well. One of these ways is your minus b formula. When we're going to use the minus b formula is when we're presented with numbers that are awkward and basically you can't work out the factors by opening up your brackets. And this is the formula here. It's actually on the cover of your log tables. So the way this works is that you have a quadratic formula. So maybe let's say 3x squared plus maybe 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. And this is your a term, that's your b, and that's your c. So it's just the coefficients to your x squared, your x, and then the number by itself. And basically you just sub it into this formula here. So b is your number beside the x, a is the number beside the x squared, and then c is the number by itself. And then you get your values. Okay, so you're going to use the positive value to get one root, and then use the negative value to get the next root. And this is the minus b formula. So if I do one example for you, you can try the next two yourself. So in this example, a, my first number, is minus 3. B is going to be 7, and c is going to be 18. And I want to sub that into this formula. So minus b is minus 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 7 to be squared, minus 4 times a, which is minus 3, times c, which is 18. And that's all over 2a, which is 2 by minus 3. So what you want to do is put this into your calculator using the positive value. And if you use the positive value, you're going to get minus 1.55, and it's rounded to 2 decimal places, and that is a root. Okay, so that's a root of this equation up here. And then you can use the negative value, and you're going to find its value is 3.88. So just arrow back in your calculator and use the negative value. So that's your second root. And that's basically just a fast way to find the roots. When you're trying to open up your brackets and it doesn't work out, you can just use the minus b formula. So I'd like you to try this example using your minus b formula. So here a is going to be 9, b is going to be 32, and c is going to be minus 28. So subbing that into our formula, you get minus b, which is minus 32, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 32 to be squared, minus 4 by a, which is 9, by c, which is minus 28, all over 2 by a, which is 9. So you want to put all of that into your calculator with a positive sign in, and just make sure you have all these brackets in. So if you use the positive sign, you're going to find that x is equal to 0.73, rounded to 2 decimal places. And if you use the negative sign, then you're going to find that x is equal to minus 4.28. Okay, so there are your two answers for x there. And again, they're the two roots. So remember, the roots are where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so we'd expect, for example, over here, if you were to sketch that, it'd be minus 1.55. You'd have positive 3.88, and then you have your y-intercept at positive 18. Okay, so up here. So it would look something like this, and we expected a sad face because it's a negative x squared. Okay, so really what you're doing here by using the minus b formula is just finding those two roots. One more example, then I'd like you to pause the video and give it a go. So a is going to be 0.5, b is minus 0.7, and c is minus 8.2. So subbing that into the formula, that's minus b, so it's minus 0.7 plus or minus the square root of minus 7 or minus 0.7 to be squared, that's b squared, minus 4 by a, which is 0.5, by c, which is 8.2 negative, and that's all over 2 by a, which is 0.5. So you can put that into your calculator. Just be careful here, that's a minus by a minus, so that's actually going to be plus 0.7 at the front, so you can just leave it as plus 0.7. And if you put that into your calculator using the positive, you're going to find x is equal to 4.81, and using the negative, you're going to find x is equal to minus 3.41. Okay, and there are your two roots. So if I was to sketch that, it's positive x squared, so it's definitely going to be a u, and we've got the two roots. Okay, so the roots, we could say that's minus 3.41, and over here you're going to have 4.81. And writing them as an actual coordinate, then you can just put comma 0, and then your y-intercept is going to be minus 8.2, okay, which would be down here, so minus 8.2. So you can sketch that like this if you like. Okay, so that would be your function. That's just the minus b formula. When do you use it? Just use it when you can't open up your brackets, when you're struggling to find factors to work out. Just use the minus b formula. That's going to find for you the roots, the point at which that function crosses the x-axis. That's all for lesson 1.11. Thanks for watching Leaving Cert Plus. I'll see you again at lesson 1.12.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.